So hello everyone and welcome back to the Southern Biker, and this is a bit of a weird and odd video for the channel because this isn't a motorbike, this is a car. This is my 2018 Audi A3 S-Line, although I mean it's actually a 2017 if you read the plate because it's a 67, even though it's registered in 2018, people just go off the number plate anyway. Now this car has got me back into driving and now I want to sell it. Am I a bit daft for that? Probably, yes. But there is some reasoning behind my logic, I do promise you. Before this, I had a 2015 1.4 non-turbo limited edition Corsa called Basil. And I must admit, I loved that car. Even though it only had about 89 horsepower, I did enjoy the fact you had to rev it quite a bit to get it going anywhere and get the momentum with you. And before that, I had a 1.2 2009 Skoda Fabia called Cherryade. Great names, I know. But when it came to getting rid of the Corsa, that car didn't really leave me wanting to get more into cars and car culture. And then when bikes came along and everything was cheaper and you got more power for your money, that sort of left me disinterested in cars. So how does all of that relate to the A3? Well, I'll tell you, to be honest. Having enjoyed, in the words of Jeremy Clarkson, the speed and power of motorbikes, when it came to replacing the Corsa, I knew that I wanted something a bit more powerful and a bit more sporty. Like I said previously, this was 150 horsepower, the Corsa was 89. Again, that's not crazy horsepower, but enough for me to notice a difference. And when I saw this car on Auto Trader, I thought it was quite a good looking car, to be honest. That would probably be helped by the fact that this is an S-Line, not the basic S3, which means it has the body kit on it, which I'm guessing is to try and imitate an S3. But obviously you don't have, actually no, does the S3 have the 5-cylinder? I can't remember. I went high pitched there as well, but that's fine. So yeah, having then got this car and then enjoyed the bit more power it had and the slightly more sportier looks, it meant I felt a bit more comfortable to go out with my mates, Gareth and Alex, who were both into cars and car culture, with Gareth having a 420i and my mate Alex having a Stage 1 MX-5. Yeah, I basically was able to fit in a bit more. I started going out more to meets and just hanging out with them and talking about cars. And I'm not entirely sure if I had the Corsa, I would have done that. Obviously, I did hang out with them when I had the Corsa, but I didn't really hang out with them and just enjoy driving around. It was more like we went and did stuff. The cars were just how we got there. Yeah. Now I know what you're probably thinking. People do go to car meets in Corsas and A3s, but you need to understand that I just felt like I did fit in a bit more, and that is a big thing to me. If anyone who actually knows me will know that if I don't feel like I belong somewhere, I will just leave. I'll probably leave fairly quickly. When I actually saw this on Auto Trader as well, I actually assumed the insurance was going to be quite pricey for me, because in my mind, you know, Audi, flashy car, I was 21 at the time I took the policy out, I had to think there. And I only had 1 year no claims, not because I'd been in an accident, but because I was on a multi-car policy for 3 years prior. So I assumed this would be ridiculous to insure, but it wasn't. It was 400 quid a year less than my Corsa was for the first year on its own policy. And that got me quite excited, to be honest, which is why I ended up getting this, because the other thing I was looking at the time was a Golf, but like a bog standard one. And in my mind, this was up for the same money for the standard Golfs I was looking at, and the same in insurance. So I thought, yeah, we'll get this. The standard Golf probably wasn't actually any more powerful than this, but this looked better. And it still looks good in my opinion. This, to me, is still quite a special car, and you might be wondering why on earth I'd feel like that. It's not even an S3, it's not an RS3, it's not even brand new. Simply put, this is the nicest, this is nicer than anything I thought I could own. I mean, I had grown up with Vauxhalls and Fords all my life, and there's nothing wrong with them, I love them. But also, not long before I got this, I was still earning minimum wage, and it had been for quite some time. So this was quite a step up in my mind, and that, you know, that felt important to me. That felt like an achievement. So naturally, I wanted to start driving this a bit more. So I have been. Where's everyone going for their hike? Where are we going? Burb spotting. Are they going burb spotting? I think they're going burb spotting. Perhaps there's something interesting. Now, another thing about this car that made it feel a bit more special to me over my previous two cars is the interior. I just love the interior in this car, and I know, again, you might be thinking it's just an A3. What's so special? The fact that everything in here is, you know, dark, it's all black, everything's just feels a bit more premium. The steering wheel, well, in my previous cars, well, the Corsa, not the Fabia, was leather. It just feels a bit nicer, and I love how atmospheric and vibey this interior is when you drive it at night. I don't know what it is, I just love that everything's all dark and everything's all a bit moody, but the dash just glows at you, and I really like it. Another great thing about this is the screen. Oh, fucking hell. Bleed. That was a lorry, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, you get full articulated lorries on these roads, and they aren't really built for them. Where was I? Yeah, another thing that's great is the screen. You can hide it, so if you really want just as little light as possible in the I'm going to say cockpit or cabin, you can get it, and it's just, oh, it's great. Again, you might be looking at this going, okay, whatever. But to me, it's just perfect. I really, really enjoy it. Now, the Corsa and the Fabia, to an extent, you know, they were fine. They were good interiors. I'm not saying that this is any more, well, it is a little bit more comfortable, but I'm not saying the Corsa or the Fabia were uncomfortable. This just feels like just a bit more of a special and nicer and weirdly calmer place to sit, I'm going to say. Everything just sort of takes a back seat, and you can just focus on enjoying the drive and just getting the miles done. Because most of my like proper night drives, is that lorry going to get past me? Yes. I've been to Saxmundham, which is about 2 hours from where I am. So just being able to sit there and enjoy the interior, enjoy the pleasant experience that is driving this car has really made me appreciate it a lot. Another good thing that is going to probably, again, be a bit odd, I'm going to call it the font. The font on the dials, I don't know what it is, I just like the boldness of it. It speaks to me and it pops to me, especially when it is illuminated at night. And I think just the size of the font as well is just, you know, it's perfect. It makes me enjoy. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it does make me enjoy driving the car. Another thing that helps this car feel like a bit more of a special and premium product over my past two cars is the fact that I've got half leather, half fabric seats. And I know some of you might think, well, it's not full leather, so who cares? And you might be right in that respect. But again, first car I've had with leather seats. And to be fair, I kind of prefer half leather, half fabric over full leather, because it means when you get in this in the summer, you're not being fully cooked alive, which is quite a nice thing actually, believe it or not. But yeah, going off the leather and the fabric and the seats and whatnot, I quite like that behind me you've got the little S badge engraved, stitched in, I don't know what the proper term is, but you know, behind my neck. And you see that as soon as you get in or look in, and you know, it's just something that reminds you that you're getting into something that you don't regret putting your money on, I'm going to say. Also, another thing that amplifies that is the S badges in the door wells as you open the door and they light up at night. I thought that was the bollocks when I saw that.
We have to be the bollocks.
Because, yeah.
That language is acceptable.
I think my Corsa may have had plates like that, but they didn't light up and they weren't as, like, in your face. Like, they're not, like, exuberant or over the top in this, but they are better, shall we say. They are definitely better. Anything else about this interior I want to say? I don't know. I think obviously the fact that all of this is black, whereas in the Corsa and the Fabia it was like a light grey, is, you know, helps with the vibes and the atmosphere. I think you can probably tell I quite like the vibe and the atmosphere of this interior. What do you think? Do you reckon? I have mentioned it quite a few times, but I'm not entirely sure. So, a few other things about this car actually that made it feel a bit more special than my previous cars, and I guess almost a tad bit sporty in my little mind. It's the fact that this is the first car I've had that's got disc brakes both front and back, and it's the first car with 6 gears, and also the first car I've had for turbo on it, which you can sometimes hear, which I didn't actually realise you would hear, considering I'm under the illusion that this isn't like, you know, a proper sports turbo, it's just a efficiency turbo from what I've been told. Apparently there's 2 different turbos. I don't really know that much about cars, to be honest, or mechanics, so yeah. Anyway, so the first car I ever drove actually with disc brakes is my mate's Gareth 428i, not 420 as I called it earlier, it was a 428. And when he first got that, I obviously still had the Corsa, and obviously I looked at that and thought that was quite a cool and sporty thing, and then it had full disc brakes, which in my mind it reserved for, you know, sporty cars with loads of horsepower and stuff, considering that with the Corsas you only got the disc brakes if you got the turbo version, or, you know, the VXR. And then, yeah, this is the first car I've had with 6 gears as well. So both those 2 little things, and the turbo as well, you know, made me feel like this was a bit more sporty and a bit cooler than my previous cars. To be fair, the Corsa was fine. It handled, like, you know, relatively well as well. Obviously, front-wheel drive is always going to have its limitations. But I digress. So all those like things combined, plus, you know, starting to hang out with my friends, just to literally be in the cars more, going to more meets and whatnot. Yeah, it really brought me back into being interested in cars again, which is the reason why I now want to get rid of this, because this car is sort of its own worst enemy. Because while I love it to pieces for everything it is, and it's got me back into cars, that's now also leaving me to want something a bit more sporty and a bit more special. Especially with, you know, me now having the Street Trooper, which is a very sporty bike, at least to me it is, and I want to start taking that on track days, and now I want to do the same in the car. And this isn't really the kind of car you're going to, you know, throw around a track. Same as it's not the same kind of car you're going to park up at a meet and display, because let's be honest, there will be that one guy there saying, why didn't you get an S3, it's just an A3, or why don't I get an RS3, etc, etc. So you may be wondering what on earth I'm going to be looking at, and I've got my mind on a few things. If I'm being brutally honest, I'd really like a 981 Cayman. But they're about 25 grand for one with about 60,000 miles on it. And that is a bit out of budget. Obviously, I could do the obvious, S3, RS3, but like I just said, they're a bit of an obvious choice, and my worry with those is the fact that because they are such an obvious choice, there's a lot of them being crashed and stolen, which probably means the insurance is going to be a bit high. I'd quite like something low down and sporty, and you might think, why not get an MX-5? And you would be onto something there, considering that when I've sat in my mate's Alex's one, I do like how low and compact you feel in that. But he's already got an MX-5, and I don't really want to have the same car as someone else. And to be honest, I don't know, I feel like with the MX-5, I'd enjoy it, and then I would get a bit bored of it. I feel like there would be a gimmick that would wear off. So maybe something else. I have something in mind. I'm not going to tell you what it is. That's hazardous, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say what it is yet, because one, it's got to happen, and two, it might change. I'm hoping to have it around April time. Also, another thing about this car that doesn't appeal to me anymore is the fact that now that I haven't got to save up for my Mod 1, Mod 2 for my A licence and the new bike, I don't really want to have a car on PCP anymore. Like, I was, you know, amazed that this was only going to be costing me 200 quid a month, and then I realised that I'm paying a load of interest on it and I'm not even going to own it at the end. And I kind of want something I can own, because then I can obviously, you know, mod it, do bits to it, take it to meets, and, you know, I mean, I can take this to meets, but yeah, mod it to get it more meet worthy, and that doesn't avoid any warranty. And, you know, I own the car, especially if I want to do track stuff as well. I don't really want to be dragging a car around that I don't own, you know, in case the worst happens. You're brave parking your BMW on the side of the road like that. Anyway, I hope this video has been somewhat interesting and at least made a tiny bit of sense to you all. I pretty much said everything I think I can say for now. I will do a full review video on this car if you are interested, and don't worry, the Street Tripper will get its own full review. I won't wait a year and a half into the ownership like I did with the Honda, because I kept putting it off. That will happen this year. But yeah, if you would like some more car content on the channel, please do let me know. I am hoping at some point to review some of my mates' cars as well. Alex with the MX-5. His brother's also got an RX-8, and I'm hoping I can borrow that for a day and have a, you know, make a video about that. Gareth doesn't have his 428 anymore because he's going to hopefully get a 440, so I could hopefully have that on the channel. But yeah, that is pretty much everything. I hope you've enjoyed the little camera setup. I don't know how well this is going to come out, so I hope it's good enough. And, you know, I'll keep on improving. I'll keep on investing time and a bit of money into things to up the video quality. I've literally bought like a mount for the GoPro you can see there, and a mount for the camera within the last week just to film this video. Little bit of a thank you to JM on Cars, because he's sort of the inspiration for me wanting to actually do the YouTube side of car stuff. And I watched a few of his videos on how he was mounting his cameras, and obviously I've been watching his videos to see how he styles them. I'm nowhere near that level of quality, let's be honest, and I don't think I will be for a long time, but we all start somewhere. But yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. I'm going to go and enjoy the A3 some more. Ta-ta!